Alright guys, this is Captain Daniel Kim, and in today's video, I'm going to talk about how to have a second chance with any girl that you lost. Or, how can I say this? How to get I guess in a way, this could go with how you could get your ex back, but this is kind of like, even with non-exes, right? I would say, how do you get a girl where you had a chance and you didn't get her, right? So why this comes up is today, I used to kind of date this girl, and, I recently found out, it's just even me, right? I look at girls who sometimes I follow them, and then I look at if they follow me still. And I found out she wasn't following me, and I was still following her. So, we actually had a good time when we dated and stuff. So honestly, I was kind of like, when I saw that she unfollowed me, I immediately unfollowed her because, to be honest, I was a little butthurt, but at the same time I was thinking about it, and I kind of got back to logical mode, and that's what I wanted to tell you about my epiphany I had, right? So this has happened actually a couple times on my Instagram, because now social media, that's the thing, right? So back in the day, we'd do iMessage, and either a girl will block you, right? Or she'll just ghost you. So the worst thing a girl could do on a text message is if she blocks you, right? Then you can't ever have a chance with her again. And if you really message her again, there's a reason she blocks you, you have no chance, right? If she ghosted you, you kind of send like I call it 3 ping texts or texts to like kind of revive the dead number. And I was talking to one of my best friends today. He said, "Yo, I found this perfect line to revive the dead number." But in a weird way, like, it's still a text, right? And she kind of asks, the worst thing you could get is like, "Wait, who are you?" Right? So that's the worst thing you could get, right? But now, with social media, as long as, like, let's say a girl unfollows you, right? That's probably one of the options, and then I'll explain the other options too. So let's say you obviously try to go for a girl, you go on a date, or you're in talks and she doesn't come out on a date, whatever happens. But let's say you were following her and she follows you, or you had contact or whatever. But from now on, if you want to actually, so let me break this down step by step. So if you want to actually get a girl back and have a second chance for her, you have to get her social media. Like, it could be Snapchat maybe, because they have stories too, but I would just say stick with Instagram, because Instagram is used all over the world. So if you want her to eventually, come back into your life, you need social media. Because what social media does is you kind of keep track of where she is. And most importantly, not like in a stalker way, but like, what she's doing with her life. And the best case scenario, if you're both following her, that's the best case scenario, right? But let's say even if she unfollows you, if you guys are in the same city or even in the same area, one thing that's been working for me when I technically, let's say, because let's say I talked with girls 3 years ago, and recently my Instagram. So how this works is, if you so this is the first thing, right? You have Instagram, you kind of either follow each other or unfollow each other, but you guys both have Instagram. What Instagram does, right? And if you become like, I guess in a way you have to build up your followers, or let's say a video goes viral or something like that. But what happened with my Instagram was it kind of blew up, right? So it did very well. So I'm gonna teach you one way about being an influencer and getting her. But basically, when my influencer blew up and one of my videos went viral, it seemed like girls who rejected me in the past saw the video, saw that I got more in shape, saw that I became this kind of like viral thing for a bit, and they actually reached out to me and he gave back to me. Actually, another recently girl though, she was in Bangkok when I got in contact with her. We never met, we kind of like ended it. She unfollowed me, I unfollowed her, but then now she found out she was coming to Dubai. So then I'm in Dubai, and she saw one of my posts because it got like a decent traction on it, and she wanted to meet up, and now we're following each other again. So what I'm telling you guys this is, basically Instagram is this new way where you could kind of keep in contact with the girl that you never kind of like got to date. Like, you had a chance, you were kind of interested, and it just fell apart, right? And what Instagram does, it's called demonstration of high value. Why Instagram is good and bad is that you only post good stuff. So if you're doing very positive stuff and it makes you look good, it makes you look sexy, you post that on Instagram, you get your likes, you get the validation. But what also Instagram does is it kind of tells you the highlights of your life. And in dating, that's what you initially do, right? And that's why right now, they say dating is kind of fake, because everyone's photoshopping their photos, everyone's kind of like, pumping up their life when like maybe their life's not perfect, but they act like it. So this is where, dating is kind of like in the beginning very fake. And in a way, Instagram is fake. But if it's not fake if you're actually living a good life and you kind of portray it. No one puts depression stuff, no one puts, like sad stuff on Instagram as much. You can, but you gotta mix it up. But what I'm saying with Instagram, if you kind of like, let's say you guys kind of talk to each other on Instagram or match with each other on a dating app, now you're on social media, let's say it was a couple years ago, and then each year your Instagram gets better. So you actually have to upgrade your Instagram. That's the only way. This is the only way you can get in like a girl back. So I'm giving you exact ways. So you have to update your photos. You have to physically look better. I mean, do what you want. You can Photoshop it, but I think basically you yourself has to look better, and your lifestyle has to be better, because there's a reason why she wasn't attracted to you. So if you met her in person, she probably wasn't attracted to your personality or maybe your physical looks. So the only way social media works is you won't have a chance, you won't be DMing her, you won't be talking to her. So you kind of have to show this version of yourself and your lifestyle where she's attracted to you now rather than before. Does that make sense? I feel like I'm kind of all over the place, so let me go step by step. So first, you need to have somehow social media. Ideally, you want her to follow you and you want to follow her, but as long as she has Instagram, you has Instagram, there's always a chance she might show up in your feeds or you might show up in her feeds, since you guys maybe followed each other in the past. So why I bring this up is because recently, a girl kind of followed me, but I kind of was thinking all about all the girls who unfollowed me in the past. If they want to follow me, I remember one girl actually saw me on a dating app and she refollowed me and unblocked me on a messaging app. At the time, we didn't have Instagram, so that's how old I am. But that's how she followed me again. So she saw me on a dating app, saw my improved pictures, saw that I got more handsome, more attractive, my lifestyle, whatever. So she reached out to me again. So that, in a weird way, can happen. I actually had a girl who told me she saw one of my viral pictures and she's like, I know this guy. And she re-messaged me through Instagram. And this is why it's important to actually have a very easy to remember Instagram name or a catchy one. So when I teach my clients, I always say, make sure your Instagram username is short, sweet, no weird things, just short, sweet, and very memorable. Like for me, it's Captain Daniel Kim. So Captain Daniel Kim is very easy to remember. And if you only write that, I come up. So in those kind of thought processes, but the most important thing is you have to make sure, in a weird way, you are improving yourself, right? So you have to make sure your Instagram showcases a new and improved version of yourself, or in a way, a new and improved, attractive version of yourself, right? Because what happens then is it shows that the girl at the time, if she sees you, right? That's the main point. She has to see your Instagram, and hopefully she's following you still. She will see that you've upgraded, that you become a better man. And that's one thing good with men, right? We age with fine wine. And also, we as men, we've seen girls who got hotter and we want to reach out to them. But usually men, why we fail with the girl at the moment is because we just we weren't attractive for the girl. It could be physically, emotionally, whatever it is. But at that moment, we weren't attractive. And then if you do what you're supposed to do, especially if you're watching, you're already improving yourself, you're looking for a dating coach or whatever, you're watching this video to improve yourself, you should be improving. But with now social media, you could kind of brag about how you improve without bragging, right? You're indirectly telling a story of how much you improve. So if you do this right, basically, the girl will indirectly see your passive value, right? You're indirectly bringing passive value where she sees and she's like, oh my God, this guy travels, this guy has money, this guy does this guy's more jacked, this guy's in shape. And you don't have to tell her that, because back in the day when we didn't have social media, I had to show her hey, look at my new car, I had to do this, but it was kind of tacky. But now with social media, if you do the algorithm right, and actually if you become somewhat an influencer and you have a decent amount of followers and you even get the blue check, whatever, if you upgrade your Instagram, then in a way she will actually see you. So obviously they always say fame is the biggest thing, right? I'm not saying you have to be super famous, but fame gets more eyes on you. And I realized when my Instagram kind of blew up, a lot of eyes got on me, and most of the girls that were dating at the time like Asian guys. So when they look at hot Asian guys, I kind of show up. So it's been very interesting how that works. And also when you're in their country and your Instagram's there, it actually shows up in their recommended list or search page. So that's been interesting. So why I'm telling you guys this is because obviously recently I said a girl unfollowed me, but usually they always come back. And even if they don't come back, the whole point of this, I really want to say, is because you're improving your life, even if that girl that you kind of didn't meet and didn't attract, if you upgrade your life, you improve it and show it on Instagram. So that's the whole point. And I know a lot of people hate the whole taking photos of the food, taking photos of my life. And my students kind of hesitate doing that, but it's just how the world is. If you want to stay connected to these people, connected to these girls that you want to meet in the past, then you kind of have to still DHV your life, because you're still doing it in person anyways. If you meet a girl and you tell her stories about what you did, all that stuff, you're still doing it. But sometimes photos are stronger than words, right? And if she sees a really cool picture of you in the Taj Mahal and all that stuff, and she's like, wow, this guy really travels and loves it. Instead of you telling all these stories and acting like you're bragging, It's actually a very indirect way to humbly brag about yourself. So that's been crucial for me where like, and you know what's funny is like usually the girls that did reject me in the past, I forget about them. So when they rekindle me, I'm like, oh, who is this girl? And you know what? It's crazy because I totally forget about them. So I actually saw this quote from somebody on a dating app. She said her motto was, if you think about it 5 minutes, if you're not gonna think about it from 5 years from now, don't think about it for 5 minutes. I think that was some kind of motto she said. But that's so true, right? Because like we get so butthurt as men when girls like reject us at the moment. But 5 years from now, I'm not saying bad things, but like she might become less attractive and hopefully you become more attractive. I mean, most of the guys who are watching this video, that's your goal, right? You want to become attractive to attract more women and have more abundance in your life and blah, blah. So I'm not saying all women, gets worse with age, but I'm saying it's like, as a man, if you do the right things, you will actually become more attractive and more mature as you get older, right? And in a weird way, you might not want her when she comes back, right? So I'm not saying that more as an ego trip. Maybe it is an ego trip. I'm saying like, oh yeah, you missed out on me. But sometimes women have their prime too. I think, a lot of women are in their primes from like 21 to maybe 30, I guess, with maybe extra Botox and stuff, maybe 35. But it is kind of like sad that a woman's value is sometimes purely based on physical looks, right? In most countries that I've been, like a woman who's very, very smart, but she's not unattractive, in a way is treated very differently from a girl who's very, very attractive, but might be dumb. So that's personally what I've seen. That's my personal experience. That's what I've seen even at a club, like especially at a nightclub, like the hot girls go in no matter how hot they are. And I don't care if the girl's a PhD or she's famous. If she's an unattractive girl, like, bro, she ain't getting in easily. So that's just what I've seen. And as a man, I'll just speak for myself. Yeah, personally, like I like it when a girl's physically attractive, right? I'm attracted to that. And let's say her personality gets better, but physically she gets worse off and she rejected me last time. I don't think I'm gonna have that same reaction because yeah, initially I was probably attracted to her physical looks. I have a type and she met that. And even if she's funny or smart or whatever, I can overlook it, but at the same time, I like her physical looks. So I'll be honest, I'm going to look at the physical looks first. So if her physical looks go down, because it is harder to upkeep your physical looks as a woman as you get older. That's just a fact. The wrinkles, because what do men like? We like the fresh look, the innocent look, the kind of plump face, but also like cute, like soft skin, whatever. But that goes away with age. With men, we actually look better because our face becomes more gaunt. We lose kind of cheek fat. With men, we actually look better as we get older if you take care of yourself and if you become more manly. So that's why girls prefer to date older men rather than younger men. Like younger men are good looking and all everything like that, but most women like to date someone older than them, right? So what I'm saying is eventually if you want to get the girl who got away or the girl who rejected you in the past, you have to first upgrade yourself and you got to find a channel to show that to her in some kind of way. And you shouldn't show it to her directly by messaging her because that's very tacky. She has to indirectly see that. So it could be through social media, which is probably the fastest and most efficient way, or it could be a group of friends, or it could be anything. But I mean, the best case scenario is you're famous and she sees that and now she's like, oh, I missed out, right? That's probably the best case scenario. But yeah, I mean, now with social media, because the world's so connected, it's like in a weird way, social media has connected our future to our present and our past to the present. Because you kind of really never lose in touch with social media, right? You could always check on people instead of calling them, which is good and a bad, right? Where you have to call someone and be like, hey, have you had a baby, got married, all that stuff. But now with social media, you kind of find out like that where they are. So I hope that helps. I hope that makes sense, guys. Usually the best case scenario though is to just upgrade and move on. That's the best, but sometimes men have egos, right? And you guys want to get the girl that rejected you or the girl that got away, whatever. And but ideally the best case scenario in my scenario is that I upgraded so I don't want those girls again, especially if they reject me the first time. Or there's some cases I do consider dating them, but they do, not all, but they do come back if you upgrade your life and you're also not needy and you're chasing them again. That was probably huge too in terms of the internal game point. It's like, don't chase them again. That's been huge. Like, you can't be needy. You have to move on and upgrade your life. And that's when kind of everything falls into place. All right, guys, this is more of a short video. It's been a pleasure. Captain Daniel out.